So the first one we're looking at is Avengers number 57.
This is Weird Science 16. Hi, I'm Dave, owner of Future Past Vintage Collectibles, and this is my daughter, Rachel.
Hi.
I'm going to ask Rachel real quick to resolve our giveaways.
Yes, we have 2 giveaways that we're announcing today. The first one is the CGC grading guide. The second one was a secret giveaway at the end of our video, Avengers number 85.
Purple label.
Purple label. Watch our last video if you want to know more about that.
Yeah.
But the winner of the CGC grading guide is The Wrecking Crew. I hope you and your son enjoy looking at this book. If you don't mind emailing us, our email's down below, and we'll get this sent to you. Congratulations.
Let us know how that goes.
Yes, please do. And the winner of Avengers 85 is Maurice Devereaux. Congratulations. Again, email us down below. We'll get this sent to you. Thank you guys so much. We love being able to give you guys stuff.
Fun stuff. We're going to probably do some more of that. But right now, we're going to do an unboxing today. 2 books. One is Pre-Code. One is Silver Age. Both very cool books. First, we want to talk about some purchases and some sales that we had recently in an auction. That's probably one of the ways that I consistently sell comics. And some of you have asked, like, where's my store and kind of how we sell comics. I sell a lot at auction. And I do pretty well with that. And I buy a lot at auction, depending. And we're going to go over that a little bit in today's segment on buying and selling. We typically don't talk about comic prices. We don't dwell on that. Today we are going to talk about prices, and I'm always pricing things out. I have a really good idea of the books that I watch and where they're at. When I send books in for auction, I typically send in a lot. When I say a lot, it could be 100 books. As books sell, I sometimes buy, and I'll look at these auctions, especially on their more high-end auctions. I look for keys that don't pop up often, or the type of grade I want, and just watch the prices. What we're going to do today is go over some books that I sold at auction and some really dramatic lows. I use GP analysis. I'm going to use primarily GP analysis in this. It's a website that tracks sales of CGC comic books. It also connects to CGC, where you can really dig into the census and see exactly how many books have ever been graded for that particular issue. It's to me an invaluable tool, and this is not an ad for them. I'm just telling you, I use this tool all the time. It doesn't fit every situation. Mm-hmm. Even in this situation, there are some other tools that are really good for seeing what the price of something is in sales. But this does pick up all slab sales. Every place that is open sourced on their information for their sales, they connect to. Then you can even hyperlink into the book and see the grader's notes. Mm-hmm.
You can see where it sold too. You can actually see the.
So as you're going through. So anyway, that's just an invaluable tool. I don't know what tools you use, but that's kind of what we're talking about. So as we go forward in this, when we say GPA, we mean GP Analysis, which is a website. Yeah. Why don't you pull up the Marvel Superhero Secret Wars number 1? This particular book, I put it out there. They've been selling okay. Fair market value on this was $500. We got $325. So that was 35% under fair market value. Did I expect that? Not really. I've seen such a softening of the market for these Copper Age books because so many people have them. On this particular book, the high sale in 2019 was $249, and it was $100 in a low sale. So even in 19, it was doing okay. You look at the graph up here, and it really popped up in 2021 and 22. This year, we've had a $1,200 sale. The low is $310. So has it bottomed out to $310? I feel auctions are a great way to get the pulse of collectors. And it's all timing. If somebody already picked up their copy and that somebody's 50 people looking for a copy, how much does a 51st person pay? When they see the market glutted and there's 20 copies everywhere you look, So
it's always kind of funny to see someone pay $300 and then the next day somebody pay $400 or $200.
And it happens all the time because one person could have been on eBay or one person missed to buy it now. But anyway, this book's dropped a lot, and that's fine. Not exactly what I expected. So let's talk about the next one.
Yes. This is a good one. And by good, I mean horrible.
You do have your opinion's important here.
It is. It matters a lot to me.
It is. We're going to have a chat about this book in a second. I want to throw some numbers. So, Masters of the Universe, that's the universe, the motion picture, 1987, number one. What did I expect? I'm going to go into what I got. Got $28 for that book.
Wow.
Well, Rachel hasn't even seen the lowest ones. We've only looked at a section. Some books have gone for lower than that, but I digress. Was I surprised? I'll tell you, I wasn't surprised. I was disappointed. I mean, I didn't put a lot of value. I knew that the fair market value right now is $116. I really think particular books are going to do much better in a newsstand or with some variation, because another common book, and people are kind of trying to branch out into things that aren't so common, but they're hitting an incredibly common era where there's so many of these books because people took care of them. So how do I make it less common or more rare? Besides a 9.8 even. Maybe if I get a Mark Jewelers in 5.5. You ever seen those prices? They're really expensive.
Yeah, because they're rare.
When you get some books that are just Mark Jeweler and people want to pick them up. But I think the Marvel Superhero Secret Wars would have gotten a lot more if it was newsstand. I don't think it would have been, what percentage? 35% under if it was a newsstand, because there's just not as many on the market. This book, I think the market's just glutted because the fair market value is 110. The difference is 75%. We got 75% under what someone else just paid. That was a good buy for whoever bought it. And the funny part is, I would have bought it. I mean, because they paid, what did they pay again? They paid $28. Well, the increment's $5, so they beat out a guy that had bid $23. If the last person didn't bid, they could have got it for $23.
Man.
And another point is that this is one of Rachel's favorite characters. Man, I would have gave her that book if I didn't know it was.
It's $28.
I would have just gave. And I was going to ask you, but I didn't want to put you on the spot.
I love that it's become one of my favorite characters. It wasn't.
No, it was a character you were familiar with.
I love him.
Would you pay $28 for that?
I wouldn't pay anything for anything, personally.
So, are you saying it's still overpriced? What? Okay, you don't buy comic books.
I don't.
But if you...
I mean,
how
sure.
much would that book be where you thought, I'm actually going to buy that?
Knowing how much it costs to get something slabbed, I would have, because it's less than what we pay to get it slabbed.
Oh, so like a donation.
Almost.
You'd make a donation.
I'd buy it and then probably resell it later when the value goes up. So this next one is Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur #1. It's a 9.6.
So yeah, we sold that for $60. You guys, any of you guys been following this book? It had been pretty high in the past, but it really needed to be a 9.8. So the fair market value on this book is $104. So it was 40% under fair market value, which is interesting. It's just this book continues to go down. It's an undesirable grade as well.
Yeah.
9.8's where people want to get them,
Mm-hmm.
and there's not a lot in 9.8 compared to 9.6 because the book's kind of tough. That white cover really, it's not easy. So this year, the high on this book was $244.
I remember when this book was really hot. That's why we got so many stats.
I'd have to see what month that was because the low was 61, and I think that's where we are. We're in that range.
Yeah, we sold it for 60.
So sometimes it's auctions too that you'll kind of pull back the curtain and see what people are really willing to spend. So there you go. If you're going to buy that, you're kind of knowing that they're not expensive. Yeah, this is Namor the Submariner #1, John Byrne art, a series I really like. Yeah, so this is 1990, and there are several 1990 books that I'm going to mention here. This particular book's in newsstands, so it's like you'd expect it to get a little bit if there was any interest in it. And it did. It got sold for $23. So it got a little bit. When it cost 35% more than what it sold for just to slab it.
Yeah.
I gave the book away and a third of what, and I probably did not spend the cover price on that. I probably spent more.
Yeah. Well, and the auction house gets a portion of the sale too. So you have to think about that also. Yeah, so it's even less than $23.
I'm so glad you brought that point up because they do take 10%.
Yeah.
10, 15%. I mean, that's what you're seeing across the board. So I lost $2.30 more cents. So it's really $20 and a couple cents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. 55%.
And I had to ship it there. I had to ship it to this place. So it cost me something to get it there.
Yep.
Just saying.
Yeah. So you're seeing this number, but it's less than that.
So 55% under the average price right now, under GPA actually. So that was an interesting one. This book is, I like this series. I gotta say this. This spec stuff, it kind of ruins comic books.
Yeah.
It really does. So people that used to admire this series, while it wasn't heavy collected, if you talk to collectors in my age group, they're like, yeah, that was a John Byrne run. That was very cool what they ended up doing. Now it's been monetized, and it's like, that's not worth anything.
Like, there's a movie now, you have to get it because the movie's
that's
out.
not worth anything. What happens to these spec books, though, and this really isn't one, there's other Submariners later on that they are using as a model for what they're doing right now in the Wakanda movie. Not this one, but it's just interesting that a book this old, because it's 32 years old, John Byrne art, would sell for $20-something and 9.6, because 9.6 is a good grade.
It's the pros and cons of auctions.
Pros and cons.
This next book is Spectacular Spider-Man number 178. It was a 9.8 from 1991.
Yeah, so this is an interesting one.
I love the cover on this book.
Yeah, it's very cool. I actually worked on that book a little bit personally.
You got 9.8 on it.
It wasn't a 9.8, so I had to press it like 3 or 4 times. Yeah, there's like a Vermin run through Spectacular Spider-Man. There's pretty cool covers on it. So anyway, this sold for $38, which is the slab cost, and that is an uncirculated slab. That's pretty cool. Somebody picked it up. It's not a hot book. That's not the point. The point is there's really good deals to get. Somebody got a very good deal on that. And also, I got less than the last sale by a stretch. So, last sale, $155. That's 75%. This sold for 75% less. So, did I expect that? No, I didn't. The book's cold. It's not the right time to sell. That's why I have so many books, because I hope to have books for all times, because I still need the cash flow. I still need to buy collections, and I still need to keep moving forward. That's why something like this, losing like that, it's been more prevalent since the comic boom, too. The books, usually a book can go up 1 or 2% a year, and you can kind of count on it. No, because it was overpriced at some point anyway. Mm-hmm. So, 75%.
Not great.
So, I put a Thor 339 and 9.8 in this auction. First appearance of Stormbreaker. Beta Ray Bill cover. Very cool. This book's not expensive. It's not like an expensive book. It's a $100 book. It sold for $63. Now, that's a really good price for that particular book. I'm going right back to it's super common. I mean, there's a lot of these. So right now, people don't want to put their money in this. And the thing about an auction, once your books are in, they're in. So you really get a good heartbeat of like what people want to buy and what they don't. There are plenty of people looking at this auction, I can assure you. Anyway, 39% under GPA, fair market value. Then I had a Web of Spider-Man, 101, 9.8 white pages. It sold for $32, right? Somebody got a good deal on that book. Really, it's a cool Carnage cover. And you guys know that if it has Carnage on it, it's going down. I mean, like the stock market. It's just fascinating to me, how volatile this market's become. And it doesn't seem like it's really, if you haven't made your money on it, you're probably not going to.
Exhibit A, $32.
Well, yeah, if you think this book's going to ever go up again, I think the chances are really unlikely. There's so much stuff out there. But people were kind of going after everything Carnage because he was being introduced. And, Venom's coming back. So who knows? So the fair market value on that book is $62. We got 32, 48% under FMV.
Hey.
Yeah.
It's at least under 35 is our MO.
It's not 75.
It's true.
That coin has two sides. Yeah, I'm selling books, and some books I sold did very, very well, and I did fine in this auction. I'm just illustrating books that didn't do so well, and I didn't show you all of them. If you guys like this content, I got lots of it.
We have lots of books that didn't sell well, and that did.
And like Rachel said, this is stuff that doesn't get reported. So you could be tooling along thinking that, hey, you could be thinking my Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur #1 in 9.6 is worth $100. And if you can get $100, I'd be surprised.
It always goes back to You can't say anything till you actually sell it for an amount. And we did it for 30, however many times.
You know what they used to say in the old days? Don't count your eggs before they're hatched. Right?
Yeah.
All right.
It's still true today.
Yep. Still eggs.
Still eggs.
They're still eggs. So I also looked at books, and this is one of the books I looked at and watched in this auction. It was Batman 308. 9.6 white pages. Love this issue. I was just watching it to see where it got, and I bought it. So the reason I bought it for $115 because the fair market value on this is $175. So it's the exact same coin on the other side. I'm buying books way under. That was 34% under fair market value. I like this book. Would I've spent more? No, I think I was maxed out. But that's good. So it works both ways. It's like the books I sold and got much less than fair market value are kind of mostly not like the ones I bought. I did buy a couple that are curious, and we'll talk about those in a minute. So let's get to the next one.
Okay.
So a book I'm always on the lookout for, I'm looking for lots of books in this particular series, is Firestorm, the Nuclear Man. So lo and behold, they had a number one. They had a couple, actually, and I actually bought more than one. We're not going to get into that.
I didn't know you bought more than one.
Yeah, I didn't tell you.
That doesn't surprise me, though, because you love a Firestorm.
I'm watching prices, and I'm doing calculations for what I think I should spend, and boy, are they coming in. So I threw my hat in the ring. It went for $637. That's what I spent. Fair market value, $818. So I got it 22% under GPA. Kind of like I'm saying, I'd rather get 22% under on a book this expensive than 50% under on a $100 book, because we're talking about a lot more money. We're talking about hundreds of dollars instead of 50. So yeah, I was glad to grab that. There's not a lot of sales in this book. 54 9/8 from 2009 to now. So if you collect Firestorm, if you care, I do. I mean, so yeah, I was super happy to pick that up. Overjoyed. So next we have Ghost Rider #1 in a newsstand, 9.6. It was very low, and right before the auction, it was super low. I'm definitely going to buy it for like $50, $75. I went up as high as $99. I think my limit on this book was $100. Why did I spend $99 on Ghost Rider 1 in 9.6? Because it's a newsstand. Because I understand 1990. Is it a good buy? What's the numbers here, Rachel? What'd you say it was?
So the average fair market value is $98 on this book.
That's a even, right? But there's not a lot of sales. When I looked at the sales and GPA, it's very low on the newsstand. Hard to track what they would have said 10 years ago if you slapped this book. There's a lot of these books out there, but they just started kind of tracking newsstands in the last couple of years. So if you don't mind, show the non-newsstand. So the amount of sales is much higher here. There was 461 as compared to 34 sales, I think, on the newsstand. Mm-hmm. I mean, almost non-existent compared to this. So the 90-day average on this is 104 for non-newsstand. So you can tell there's a little noise there that the newsstand's going to sell for more. They're just not as available. There's probably, one available for every 8 or something of these. So anyway, it's an interesting book. And on top of that, you said you looked it up.
Yeah, when I looked online to see like the most recent sales for this book in particular, 9.6, it sold for $345 like 2 days ago. So the average will go up.
Was that an auction?
No, it was outright.
Yeah. So
it was just buy now. And
I thought it was a good price. I wish this guy would have seen a price like that, because I don't know if it's worth that much yet, because I don't have a good grip on how many of those are in the market. But now that I own one, I'm always going to look to see if they're newsstand. So there was a copy of Infinity Inc., number 17, 9.6, 1985, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So actually, I was chasing the number 16, which is the first appearance of Mr. Bones. And both of these were really, really cheap as the auction was progressing and getting there. So I was watching them. Why? Why were you watching these? Todd McFarlane art. Fantastic cover. This character just really is hard not to look at. I dug, And then that book did get expensive. People chased it because of Todd McFarlane art. If you notice his cape, this is very early Todd McFarlane art. And whose cape is that?
It's
Spawn's. Yeah, so we all know Todd McFarlane kind of worked some things out as he was working for other people, but Spawn was an early personal character of his that he developed when he was young. Anyway, picked this book up because I thought it was still priced very fair. I bought it for $50. That's what it got up to. So 37% under GPA. This is the kind of book I like, by the way. I dig this kind of book. I don't mind just putting this away for two reasons. Number one, I like the cover. I like it personally. And second, it's early Todd McFarlane. And
who doesn't like that?
It's just a cool book. And so the last thing about Infinity Inc. 17, the last one sold for $80, and I'll show the stats here. These just aren't selling.
Yeah, that's the only one.
I'm not saying there's none out there. I know people have collected these, but I'm here to tell you, I don't think a lot of people ever expected it to be anything. You know?
Yep.
Even though this guy is sick. I mean,
Mr. Bones smoking a cigarette?
Mr. Bones, come on.
Hanging with the dog. Like, get out of here. Look at that little girl. She's mad.
I want to read it. Maybe I'll crack it and read it.
No, you won't.
So I noticed they had a Iron Man number 101 in 9.8. I was watching this. I like this book. It's an early appearance of the Monster of Frankenstein. I like this era in Iron Man. I just sold some. And one time, at some point, we're going to do a video about the ones we sold. We did fantastic on them. So I paid $307, which I thought was fantastic. The last one sold for $585. Do I think it's a $585 book? I don't think it's a $307 book, other than the fact that I just spent $307 on it. So now, it's, you know.
It fits all of your criteria of the things you want to, so it's perfect.
Yeah, if I got stuck with this, it would not hurt my feelings. Very cool Dave Cochran cover. I like the cover on this book. Dig the book. 47% under GPA. I'm pretty happy with that.
Nice.
Glad to add it to the stockpile.
Bronze Age.
Goodness.
The reason we aren't showing them to you is we haven't got them in the mail yet.
I just bought them. It takes a couple years to get them.
It does. Okay, next up is a book we've all seen before, Lobo #1.
Just when you thought Lobo was gone, he keeps showing back up.
He's out here.
Lobo #1. I actually bought one. Yeah, I bought a 9.6. And you hear me talking about when a book needs to be 9.8. This is a book that needs to be 9.8, except if it's a newsstand. It could be a 9.6 or a 9.8. It was up to $12, $13. I'm like, for $13, I'll buy a Lobo newsstand because this is really specky. I think at some point, because his daughter has been in DC Comics in the last few years, her name's Crush. She's had some great covers. She's cool. He's always kind of had that ethos that reminded me of Lemmy from Motorhead. I kind of liked it. He was just this, he was mean and he didn't care, and I dug it. Simon Bisley, I like his art. Some people don't care for it. I've really liked it. He did some stuff in Doom Patrol that I dug. He's been around for a long time. Does a lot of painted art. Anyway, got this book for $36. Newsstand, it says $50, right? But only one copy sold. So on the newsstand side, very few sales. They just started marking some of these, but I'm here to tell you this is that era that newsstands are a very small percentage of all printed issues. This was a really highly printed issue. I did notice that this book doesn't have a lot of data in newsstand because there aren't any sales, but you pick up a lot of sales in direct. So in direct, there's been 118 sales with a high of $150 and a low of $11. There's 23 sales this year with the high of $150 and a low of $26 in direct. So I hope I'm not putting out the notion I think anyone should spec on any of these books. I'm not.
You're buying them under market value.
Yeah, I'm just telling you. I am not recommending a single person buy this type of book. I'm just sharing with you the kind of stuff that I'm attracted to, the kind of stuff I'd buy, and what price I'd buy it at. That's it. I also just specky type purchase. I saw some West Coast Avenger 45s. There was multiple copies, but there were some 9.4s I thought were at a price that makes sense to buy it, and I paid I think $50 for one, $46 for the other. And the fair market value is $80. So I got them about close to 40% under fair market value. And I'll tell you, I like this book.
You always buy it when you see it.
I like
good.
John Byrne cover. Dig this book. It's one of my favorite homage books out there, especially for the same character later on. So, yeah, very cool. This is X-Men 142. If you don't mind, put that up. There you go. I have the 141, a super nice copy of the 141 in 9.8. Here's a really nice copy So I watched it to see if the value, if I could get a value on it. And I did. So I paid $338. Fair market value right now is $456. I got 25% under GPA. That's fine for me. There's been plenty of times I've spent more than 25% of the last GPAs. So yeah, I picked that up. Nice book.
Yeah.
So that's kind of all we're going to go over. And I have lots of stuff like this. So if you guys like this kind of content, let us know. We do have an unboxing. We have a couple of books, 3 books, I think, that we're going to unbox today, right?
We do.
So today we have 1 pre-code book, 1 Silver Age book, and 1 bronze book. Small submission. I'll have Rachel introduce the books and take it from here.
Let's do it. So we have 3 books today that we're going to be looking at that we sent out. My dad presses these books. I think you pressed all 3 of these. We talked about that.
I did.
Yep. So all of these were pressed. And yeah, I know that I don't actually know any of the pre-grade information.
I have it committed to memory on this.
So he knows everything.
Very small submission.
So the first one we're looking at is Avengers number 57 from 1968. It's funny we were talking about West Coast Avengers number 45 because this is one of the
This is the homage it is of.
What it is.
Yeah.
This is the first appearance of the Silver Age Vision, and it has Black Widow and Ultron.
Yeah, so this has become a somewhat sought after book. Love the John Buscema art in this. It's one of my favorite covers of his of all time. John Byrne was a perfect guy to swipe it onto West Coast Avengers. Anyway, I bought this at a convention as an 8.0. Before you even do the grade, that there's a bend on the top corner. It would be over a 9.0 without that bend. It would probably be a 9.2. Super nice copy. It was an 8.0. I totally expected an 8.0. And I got
an 8.0.
An 8.0.
Off-white pages.
Super nice book on a nice key to have. I'm glad to have it.
We love it. And it looks so good in the slab.
It is. It's a pretty book. Yeah, it's really Newton Ring City on it.
Yeah, they have like new slabs and new bags. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, the bags are thicker now.
I really like the new bags, actually.
They're great. So before you even put this one up, I think we should talk about the Raw.
Yeah.
The Raw book, right? Bought it as a 7.0. This is Weird Science 16. Got this book. Happy to get it. Got a decent price on it. Had a fold on the back cover. Bought it as a 7.0. Had a fold on the back cover, and I wanted Rachel to show some pictures here. Man, I worked on this book for a long time, and I must have pressed it 12 times. That doesn't hurt the book. It doesn't. You're not doing a lot of pressure. You're doing very little pressure. It's really an application of steam and some other things that you do to help loosen the page up and make it reform back to its original form. Mm-hmm. So worked on this book a lot, and I want you to see on these before and afters how much of this creased. And I don't even know if it's a printer's crease, right? Because the book was so clean otherwise. So the front cover, solid 9.2 with a possible 9.4. It only had 2 or 3 spine ticks on it with no folded corners. Back cover had this crease, but it didn't break a lot of color, very slightly. Now, let's show the book. Okay. So I expected, I thought it's possible. I felt 7.5 was easy, but I thought maybe I can get an 8.0 on this. And I was living in that fantasy for a while because I got a
6.5.
Yeah.
Cream to off-white too.
Yeah, so it's fascinating. I think if I sent it back in, I'd get a different grade. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Let's talk about this book for a second. So 1952, Weird Science, number 16. Wally Wood cover. One of my favorite covers of all time. I think that Danny had a copy, right? That he went over in one of our show and tells.
Oh, of this book?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I know we had a whole episode about Weird Science, so that makes sense.
It is probably in my top 5 science fiction covers of all time due to the art. And this book's telling, because if you look at the way the art is with the kids and the dog, and I've talked about this book before, I think I even showed it raw on this show, with the kids hiding and something scary going on. Hey, look at House of Mystery, House of Secret later on. That was Neil Adams and Bernie Wrightson's versions of these covers with their own kids and their own stories set up like this. I really feel like Wally Wood started it. But it's also just the quality of the art and the glow on these kids' face. One of my favorites. Anyway, 6.5. I do think if I sent it in, I'd get a different grade. Let me know what you think on the back cover. Glad to own it.
I'll put up the census.
This really isn't a bad grade to have on it. I'd much rather have
the 7
a higher grade. Well,
that it had before.
This is a book I'd like to have an 8.590.
Yeah.
I'd be happy with it.
Yep.
That's the book.
Weird Science. All right, final one.
Yeah, so something happened on the way to the forum on this one. So
This is Incredible Hulk 197. You've seen this book
yeah,
many times.
this was a 9.4, I thought, and I thought I got it up to a 9.6 or 9.8.
And it's a 9.0.
So we got to figure out what happened. I'm here to tell you guys, I do trust them. That does not look like a 9.0. Does that look like a 9.0 to you?
No, I'm thinking like a 9.2.
I love this book. Bernie Wrightson drawing Man Thing. Show me other Bernie Wrightson Man Things.
And the Hulk looks so cool in this.
Yeah,
It's just such a cool cover.
I love this cover, and it's not a big deal book. It's a big deal to me. I really want this in 9.8 for my PC. Hopefully I'll find one. It could be wishful thinking with me sending this in because I have some other copies. Maybe I sent the wrong copy in. I don't know. Anyway, I think we could crack that and improve it. It's just not worth the work.
Yeah, I don't think it
I mean, it's not a cheap book either. I mean, it's worth something. And in 9.8, that book's worth probably $400. This is a nice book. I can't do a 9.0. Give it away.
Yeah. Do you want this?
Let's give that away and let's talk about our 1,000 subscriber and what we're going to do.
Yeah, till we reach 1,000. We're so close. So yeah, if you want this, say I want it in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe as well. And we'll give this to one of you.
Yeah, you have to be liked. You have to like it and subscribe in order to qualify for it. But
so please do that and then say I want it. And then you could potentially win this. And again, it's so cool.
If you don't have it, it's a cool book.
It's really cool. Yeah. Anyway. Okay, let's talk about our 1,000 subscriber giveaway.
So we're doing a 1,000 subscriber giveaway, and I'd like Rachel really quick to put last week's addition to the prize pool up for review, please.
All right, the first item that we're giving away for our 1,000 subscriber giveaway when we reach 1,000 subscribers is this death metal record. And we're adding a second item this week to the giveaway. We are going to give away this pin. I have a picture of it. It is a fig pin of Deadpool 90s 905.
Got this at the last Emerald City Comic Convention in Seattle. Cool. It's got, actually, if you show the sticker on the back,
it's one of 1,000. And
it shows the Space Needle, and very cool thing to have. There's only 1,000 of them. Someone's going to win it.
So we have the record and we have the pin so far added to our 1,000 subscriber giveaway.
Yeah, so we're going to keep adding stuff. Please watch, like, subscribe, hang out.
Get us to 1,000 so we can give some stuff away.
Tell us if we're crazy.
I don't think they need to tell us that.
Don't tell. We know.
Okay.
that sign's been falling the whole show.
That's it.
Thanks,
Let us know
everyone.
if you like the breakdown of auction
Breaking
prices.
it down.
We're just trying some new stuff out, seeing what lands. All right. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.